Hey, good afternoon, y'all. It's Ned over My Philippine Dreams, and to the east, the D over at MPD, along with flea-infested Angel, and we're coming to you live from Dumaguete City, the city of gentle people. Just wanted to do a quick video to relate an incident that happened a few weeks ago. If you go to our website and you follow our blog, you'll probably know about this already. It was an encounter I had with a fellow American whilst at the dentist office, where I found out that I have to get a root canal at some point. To save time, I'll just try to encapsulate it as quickly as possible what happened. I was waiting for my appointment. There was a young man from France there who lives down in Zamboanguita. He has a kite surfing business down there. His name's Francois. And we're just making small talk, waiting to go into the dentist's office. And this other gentleman came in. Come to find out, he was another fellow American. And as soon as he heard Francois' accent, he asked him, "Where are you from?" And Francois replied, "I'm from France. Why do you ask?" And the gentleman said, because I ask everybody, we'll call the gentleman Tim. We'll say the gentleman's name is Tim. And he said, because I ask everybody. Francois looked questioningly over at me, and I chimed in with my usual joke, which usually gets a lot of traction and is pretty popular. Well, I'm American, but I tell people that I'm Canadian because nobody likes Americans. To which Tim responded, because he obviously took exception to that, well, the only reason they hate Americans is because of that goddamn N-bomb in the White House. And I'm not going to use the actual word. Everybody knows at this point, hopefully, what N-bomb is, what the N-bomb is. The N-bomb is a pretty dirty word. In my opinion, it's the ugliest word in the English vocabulary. Nowadays, again, in the 21st century, there's really no time or place for it. It doesn't, I mean, in polite company, you know, there's certain things we say and don't say in polite company, but I don't think there's a place for it in any type of company. And when you're using it in reference to the President of the United States, whether you like him or not, he's our Commander-in-Chief. He's the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And as a former member of the Armed Forces and being a paratrooper, I'll always be a paratrooper, that just kind of offended me on top of him using the N-bomb at all. And there's few things that really get my goat and will get me to respond instantly, to express my disdain or my inability to tolerate such language. If you use inappropriate terminology to refer to blacks, Hispanics, Asians, women, anything like that, I'm going to say something. And for some reason, this really bothered me. When he dropped this in the middle of the dental waiting room, it really bothered me. So I said immediately, "Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you're not." And he's like, What? He is a goddamn N-bomb." And I basically stood up at this point, kind of got into his face. And then he started in with the, "I'm not racist, I'm not racist." And I kept on telling him to shut the fark up, shut the fark up, shut the fark up. And we went back and forth like this. I was basically in his face. He's saying that the president is an N-bomb and that he's not racist. I didn't accuse him of being racist, but maybe he had the actual synapses required to put one and one together and come up with two. I'm not sure. So after a while, after a few seconds of this, and I was totally seeing red at this point. I was actually like looking at the distance. All right, I can't punch him because he's older than I am, and if he goes out, there's a wooden bench right there, so maybe I should just slap him. And maybe he saw something in my eye at that point, and he kind of chilled down. He kind of, you know, put things into the back burner. And he said, "All right, I'll shut up, I'll stop." So I went into the dentist's office, I got my thing done, found out I need a root canal, so he actually got revenge on me. Came back out, he came up and said, and basically apologized. I apologized to him for overreacting. And basically what this comes down to, there's certain types of American expats in the Philippines. And when I'm saying this, I'm not being anti-American. I am an American patriot. I'm grateful and appreciative every day that I was born in the United States. But there's a certain segment of the population here that likes to use certain types of language. And they do so without any type of filter between their brains and their mouths. And it's a certain segment of the population that really tends to get under my skin because they feel like they have to share their political or ideological beliefs with you, whether you ask them or not for them. So that kind of bothered me. Also, this has to do with the perception of the ugly American traveling abroad. Everybody knows what the ugly American is. The arrogant American that goes out there is loud and boisterous and says all kinds of crazy stuff without regard to local cultural mores and the like. So when he did that, I saw him as the ugly American. I jumped up, I expressed my intolerance for his intolerant language, and I thought I was right. I thought I was the righteous one. Here I am doing the right thing, standing up for what I believe in. And this is the 21st century. People shouldn't be using such words. And it's not because I'm a liberal or I'm a socialist. It's more of a humanist thing. It's, you know, treating people with decency and respect. And it was only later, when I actually thought about it, when I realized that maybe he wasn't the only ugly American in that dentist waiting room. So the way I responded, getting up in his face and basically planning to smack him, I was also being the ugly American. There's no doubt in my mind. So we were both being the ugly American. I let myself down, he let, you know, himself down, and there was no winners in that situation. And again, when you're doing this ideological, political, whatever you want to call it thing, there are no winners. It's a lose-lose scenario. And those are the type of situations that I really don't like. Those are those lose-lose scenarios. I'm not a big fan of that. So, ugly American in the Philippines right here. And it was also him, and it's other occasions. And when I first came here, when I first moved to the Philippines, people always said, Ned, after you've been here for a while, you're going to notice that the most problems you have aren't going to be with Filipinos, they're going to be with fellow expats. And that was a situation on both ends where that actually happened. If you want to read more about this, because I actually write about it more cogently than I'm trying to describe it now, because I'm getting kind of caught up in the emotion again, you can go over to a website. I'll put a link down at the bottom in the video description box and you can check it out. What are your experiences with ugly Americans in the Philippines? What are your experiences with foreigners that don't take into account where they are and the cultural mores that they're surrounded with? And what's your experience with people telling you and trying to share with you their political ideologies? So this is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams. We'll see you next time.